the technique that we have used, we advise them whether they'll be able to breastfeed or not. If the burst was so huge, the blood supply is affected, we have to transplant the nipples. So that means that this patient or individual lady will not be able to breastfeed. But if they are moderate, there are techniques where we use that they can be able to breastfeed. And then we give them sports bra, we prescribe for that, because they tend to compress the breast, and when it heals in a with a better symmetry and shape. Because those are some of the objectives that we try to achieve: reduce the size, get equal symmetry, and then a good shape, which will be presentable.
At the end of
and
the
the
day,
nipples in the right position. Yes.
Because at the end of the day, for a lady, how she looks is very important. So the risk factors of having gigantomastia happen, including for pregnant ladies who may not be aware that they're having this kind of a condition. Which ones are they?
The risk in terms of, I've already mentioned some of the risks that these patients tend to have. Limited cardiorespiratory function, the lungs and the heart, fractures of the vertebra, but they can get infection after the surgery. They can lose nipple sensation to the nipple. The nipple may die because of blood supply. They can get clot formation and so on. Maybe scars, but we try to hide the scars in plastic surgery. But all these complications can be avoided, and if they occur, we try to correct them.
You try
we are
to
able
correct
to
that.
correct them. Yeah.
Because at this point, coming to you, Ruth, in terms of your recovery, you go into an operation, a theater rather, with expectation. Once the operation was done, who was Ruth then? When you regained consciousness, what was the first thing that came to your mind?
When I regained my consciousness, I mean, I was still in that slouching position because, you know, you're used to, like, the bus is pulling me. So when I woke up, I was actually going to the washroom with the nurse. So she pulled my, she was like, try and walk straight. You know, I was like, walk straight, what are you talking about? So I actually propped myself up. I felt the relief off my chest was unbelievable. Then she asked me, do you know how many kilos the doctors removed from your chest? I was like, no. So she told me 3.9 on the right and 3.4 kilos. So 7.3 kilos, a total of 7.3 kilos. Yes. Then I thought maybe it's still the anesthesia in my head because of what she had said. Then I looked down, I saw I don't have my bust anymore. I just have the bandages, and I was not in pain. I just had the drains. And I went on in my life, as in I went back to my hospital bed and continued sleeping. So the following days when it actually hit me, you don't have that bust anymore.
7.3 kgs are gone.
Yes.
Yeah. What Ruth says about the posture is quite important. And some of these patients, because they are used to, when they are walking, they try to lean backward because they are countering the forward pull of the breast. So when you reduce that weight, they still tend to lean backward, and they can easily fall backward. So some of them, it requires the assistance of a physiotherapist to again train them on how to walk normally. So it can be very, very challenging to some of them because they are used to walking in a certain way, and now the weight is off. That counterbalancing position they have been acquiring still remains there. It has to be eliminated.
It has to be eliminated.
Yeah.
Ruth, were you ever eager for the big reveal? Because you woke up and you had bandages and everything.
Oh yes, I was. So I stayed in hospital for some days, then I was discharged. Then I went for review in professor's clinic. So before I left the hospital, they had removed the bandages. So every time I'd just be like, I'm amazed what just happened. Yes.
Taking a sneak preview.
Yes. Then finally, when I went to professor's office, when he removed the stitches around my nipple line, I was like, this is it. Something totally different, completely. Then I remember I was also walking in town one day. Then I saw a very good friend of mine. She passed me, she just went. Then in the evening, she called me. She's like, you know what, McKenna, I saw someone who looks like you in town, but I was not sure. I was like, yeah, it was me. He's like, so what happened? What happened to you? I was like, I don't have as people would call them, the twins. I don't have them anymore.
People would call them?
They'd call them twins, twins. You have twins on your chest. But after my surgery, I literally have had twins, 7.3 kilos off my chest. Those are like 2 babies. Exactly. So even your image changes, your self-esteem now is like, not even
Over
100,
here.
is here, I know.
Huh?
Yes. Yeah.
And how was life after that?
Life has been great. 4 years down the line, I mean, I
Yes.
cannot complain. Now I can even hit the gym, you don't have anything on your way, so you go all out, Like I can walk into a shop and I want that dress, I'll get it this time. Yes.
No more t-shirts.
No more t-shirts. So t-shirts, like my friend, she's called Leonida, she'd tell me, no, you sleep in those t-shirts. I was like, yeah, no, t-shirts are for sleeping nowadays. It's time to be you, to be me, to be what I really want to be.
Right.
Yes.
And your brother can send you a nice outfit.
So he came back, he's around now. Yes, yeah.
But maybe what I would like to mention, talk about is the cost. I think the cost, the insurance should be able to negotiate with the surgeons, the plastic surgeons, on how much they should pay for this patient. Because in the Western world, you find anything from half a kilo reduction on either side of the breast, the insurance cutter for that. It's no longer a cosmetic issue.
But I'm also, allow me to interject, Professor.
Yes.
And as I was listening to Ruth's story, at what point would someone interpret a medical procedure, because surgery is a medical procedure, right?
Yes.
At what point would anyone interpret that as cosmetic?
Well, you see, there's a misconception that any procedures plastic surgeons perform is cosmetic, and that is not right. These are people with a problem. They have symptoms and they have signs which are obvious, and in fact, the insurances end up paying more to the orthopedic surgeons because they have orthopedic-related symptoms. So they will continue taking medication until intervention is done. At the moment, we go through a long process. If you have insurance companies to pay for this patient, we have to refer them to an orthopedic surgeon. They have to make a medical report confirming that that's the real cause. And it's a long process. And yet, as plastic surgeons, we are saying that we could come together with the insurance companies and agree on a reasonable package for these procedures so that many patients can benefit.
Absolutely.
A National Hospital Insurance Fund in the government hospitals is able to, it does pay for them. But there are long queues with other plastic surgery conditions, so gigantomastia takes a back seat.
A back seat.
Exactly.
Let's talk about this condition in men, because you said that it's not
Gynecomastia.
only, yes.
Yes.
Now that changes into gynecomastia.
Gynecomastia.
It's no longer
Yes.
gigantomastia.
Yes.
Tuesday itakuwa mrefu. But then again, the condition in men, what you said mainly it's obesity?
Yes, mainly is obesity.
But there could be other causative agents like?
Well, there could be other causes. In men, it's not really normal for the breast to become big. So you have to be very alert as a surgeon, because it could be something more dangerous than just breast enlargement. Men also develop breast cancer. So you really have to check on that. Of course, the hormonal aspect is there, as already alluded to in the female patients. And again, obesity. Obesity is the main problem now. A lot of pizza, junk food, and so on. So there's a lot of fat and fibrous tissue deposited in the male breast.
When I was growing up, someone told me, thou shalt avoid somersaulting chicken. Because thou might find yourself with this condition. So also feeding is a problem, huh? It could be a problem.
Yes, the fat is metabolized into the estrogens along the same line as estrogen. So you have more estrogens that stimulate the male breast to develop.
So coming to you, Ruth, even as we bring this to a close, what's your parting shot to especially people down there at the grassroots, and they probably have no idea, they've just gotten an idea of what could be happening to them? What do they do?
Okay, now what I'd say, I've started a foundation. It's a 3-month-old foundation, and as I've said, I'm on a very aggressive awareness campaign. I'm always on media, I'm always in the radio stations, and yes, there are very many people who come out and talk about it. Like now, I can say I have a list of 56 ladies waiting. But my biggest problem is funding for these surgeries to be done, because I know the doctors are readily available, but we need to get a good facility. And what I can say is that there's help outside there. You don't have to sit down and die silently with that problem. You see, like that small girl, like when KBC spoke about it, as I said, I felt what she's talking about. I felt that I'm here, I can help this girl, why not? There's nothing stopping me from helping her, especially from the fact that I have undergone the surgery. I've undergone the psychological torture she's going through, and yet she's only 13 years old. You can also contact me. Like now, if I leave the media house, I normally leave my number behind, and feel free to call me, because I know I relate. It's not like I'm coming from the blue, like, oh, I just decided to start Gigantomastia Foundation. I've been a victim of Gigantomastia Foundation, and I know what somebody can go through, especially even for the men. You know, it really crushes their ego. Like maybe you're at the beach, people are in the water jet skiing, you can't even remove your shirt because you have that stigma of having male breasts. So I'm easily reachable. My Facebook page is Gigantomastia Foundation, and my phone number is 0786 406036, 0786 406036. And I'm also working towards having a launch for my foundation, whereby if I could be able to get the First Lady, I would be honored to have her as my guest of honor, because also she deals with the ladies and maternal health, and also you can see like Gigantomastia affects women who are even breastfeeding.
Sure.
Yes.
Over to you, Dr.
Well, for me, McKenna will always know where to find me.
Yeah.
And some of our residents, I work for the University of Nairobi. I'm a lecturer there, and we are training postgraduate students in plastic surgery. And normally when we go for these operations, I go along with the residents, because it's part of training, and at the same time giving back to the community. So we can go to the patient, or the patient can come to us. And with assistance of the counties and the governors and the well-wishers, we can always assist these desperate patients. Yeah.
Absolutely, there is help. And of course, Ruth McKenna and Professor Hinga have given you the platforms through which you can use to reach them. Usifungie uko ndani, fungua roho. Sasa, ongea, just say you have a problem. And especially to the men, it could be a problem, especially to the men. Unajua mwanaume, Mwanaume kitambo kuja aseme I have this condition, it could be quite a process.
Exactly.
But then again, you need help. So if you need help, kindly get in touch with them and they will be able to walk you through the process of recovery, and you too could be having a success story like Ruth has this morning. Ruth Makena, asante sana.
Thank you.
And Professor Hinga, asante sana.
Thank you.
And of course, for you out there for listening into this conversation and of course interacting with us this Tuesday morning. We take a short break, but do not go anywhere. Martin Mwanje is up next with the news. Keep it. Good morning, Kenya.